Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of the Geospatial Index podcast. I believe it's the newest for the geospatial industry. We have a very special and ambitious guest here from Spain, Pablo Viejo. He is the founder of Bettermaps.ai. My first question to you, Pablo, should be, what's the elevator pitch for Bettermaps.ai?
Hi, thanks for having me on the podcast. This is a real pleasure. So let's say that the Better Maps AI is a vision of what the future of geospatial should be, or I think will be. That is that everybody can make maps just by asking about it. So if I want to have a map in 4, 5, 10 years, I don't want to have to go and get the data, download, change the format, put it in a software, change the visualization. No, I just want to say, make me a map of. So that is exactly what we are doing in Better Maps, trying to find out what the people want to do and what they are asking for. And for that, we use, as you say, natural language models. It means we can do it in any language of the world. And then we are training the models to understand how people ask about maps or what kind of geospatial intelligence they want to do with natural language.
How is Bettermaps.ai specifically better than Google Maps?
So I will say we are still not better than Google Maps in many points, but the one we are better is actually the people don't have any barrier in order to make a map because they just ask for it. So it means potentially we are going to be much faster and much easier to create a map than any Google Maps. On the other side, we don't have so much publicity and we don't have many other hurdles that you have in Google Maps. But let's say we are on the way. We hope we are going to be the choice for those who want to make maps and they don't want to code or they don't want to learn a new software. So they just come to Better Maps and they do a map.
Yeah, I guess a couple of things that come to mind for me about what you guys are doing is I remember you had like a Twitter bot and you could use the hashtag make a better map of and then a place name or something. And I remember I tried that out on Twitter a couple of times and it faithfully responded with a small map showing most of the time the location I requested. Another one, I remember you said a way to test out the service was to put in the text, make me a map of where Shakespeare was born,
yes.
Or make me a map of London, and it promptly showed London, the boundary of the city, highlighted with everything outside of that municipality grayed out. So yeah, I don't remember having the same experience with Google Maps.
No, I think the good thing is the natural languages. For example, you can say, I want to have a map of the land of the rising sun. And it says, oh, you want a map of Japan, because natural languages go beyond what is actually the name of the country, or it can tell you, okay, so any kind of context. So the natural language models that we are using, they are already pre-trained, so we get a lot of them already for free. That's the good thing. The bad thing is sometimes they don't understand exactly what we want. That's why we have to fine-tune the models in order to constrain what the people are asking in order to be able to create a map. Because sometimes how the people ask, or sometimes the words they say, they are not so easy to understand what kind of map they want to do. That's why this is the tricky part. And what we are doing in the beta version is learning how the people use it, what they ask, and with the answers they give, we train it back. So it's going to be always better. So this is the idea.
Yeah, so I guess overall, there's a conversational experience that users can have that's maybe a bit more intuitive or casual. You don't have to be so precise in the language you use. Okay, yeah, I can see how it's more user-friendly for lay people.
Yeah, exactly. So and then the other thing is, for example, if you want to find data that you don't know where it's hosted, So what we are training is our models to give you not just the place, but the data itself. So we are training the models to know, okay, if you want to have, for example, I don't know, electrical charging station points, then we have a data set, and then it will make the map of that. So it means you can combine different layers just with natural language, and that is where we're coming to location intelligence and so on. That is, I think, this is the next barrier that we want to break.
Is it realistic to think of going to the level of analysis using a natural language interface?
Sure, because the only thing we are doing is we are having microservices in the backend. So it means what we have to train is how you are going to make this request. If you say, I want to make a hotspot analytics of the number of electrical charging station or the power install, or then probably you're going to be able to send that to a microservice and send you back the hotspot analysis. It means it is interesting to see that the people are going to ask things that maybe the AI is not going to understand so easily. That's why it is double trained. So we have to train the people and we have to train the AI. So in order to make the proper prompts. As we know, prompt engineering is going to be soon a new career path. And this is not going to be different for our models. So the people need to know how to ask, but it's going to be easy to learn, I suppose.
Half of my knowledge really from all this comes from Twitter. And something I saw a couple of days ago was someone posting about a new QGIS plugin, which uses ChatGPT to help, but basically to help people to use the help for the different analyses you can do in QGIS. And I think the example there was some sort of raster analysis. So there's an example of ChatGPT already being deployed in the industry's geospatial tools and helping people already. So I feel like, it's maybe not that much of a big step further to have it actually doing analysis when it's already giving people summaries of the help about how to do those analyses. So.
Exactly. I think where the biggest hurdle is going to be when we ask the AI to find data or create new data sets. For example, so I want to have a map of all the startups in UK. So maybe it's a data set that is not existing, but maybe you ask the AI to look web pages with the startups and bring you down all the location of each of them and put it in a map. This is going to be interesting if we get there, because right now I can imagine this is going to be very creative in the way he makes these locations. But I think this will be the next step. So where even the data sets are going to be created live.
Yeah, and so that relates to the Geospatial Index too, because we're up to 160 plus 164 or something publicly traded geospatial firms that I've found manually basically since August last year. I have been using ChatGPT and then Bing Chat to extend that list by finding competitors to geospatial companies that I put in as a prompt engineer. So yeah, that's another way that I'd love to extend through actual spatial analysis. So yeah. Okay, so I feel like we've explored the possibilities a bit. Perhaps we can get down to the details of the business side of Bettermaps.ai. So a question that investors like to know about is how much so-called skin in the game you and other people behind the business have.
So actually, this is my full job. So I invested 100%. The other 20 or 30% of my time. So apart from the 100%, I teach at the university in Singapore in the Master of Urban Planning in the National University of Singapore, and I do some consultancy. But this is my main job, and I put my savings in it, and it's really something I totally believe in. So I cannot imagine a future where natural language is not the way we deal with maps. And that's why so I'm on it. So I'm in full skin in the game.
Oh, that's great to hear your level of dedication. If you don't mind me asking, I only wanted to dig a little bit further because something you can see relatively easily, at least in publicly traded companies, is the proportion of the shares of a company that are owned by the so-called insiders, the CEO, the board members, things like that. So you said you put some personal savings in. I don't want to know the actual amount, but roughly what proportion of the total capital that's being used for this business comes from you?
Right now is 100% of the capital.
Yeah.
But we have had some convertible notes that is they are going to be converted, but let's say not more than 10%. So
okay, yep, okay, that's good to know. Okay, so another popular concept or idea that investors like to think about is the blue ocean strategy. So this is as opposed to a red ocean, which is filled with sharks, or really, it's a bit gruesome, but the blood of a fight in a very heavily contested market. So that's a red ocean. It occurs to me that maybe you are in a blue ocean or are seeking one. So other concepts that are similar are a niche and trying to dominate a niche. And there's the concept of 0 to 1 that Peter Thiel popularized in a book. But I'd just like to know, I guess, your comments around the potential here to capture a niche, dominate the niche.
Yeah. I think I'm in a red ocean in the way that there are many companies doing maps. This is good, and they are bigger than me. So that's why I don't have a doubt on it. But I think I have seen a blue ocean in the way that, as I say, so natural language for location intelligence is the way to be. And I want to be first there. So that's why, so the idea is come there and begin to be in the blue ocean before anybody else. And that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
Great. Okay. I think there's a lot of people who have a similar idea. So we'll see how quickly it becomes red. But yeah, hopefully you find a blue segment or niche. Okay. So another aspect, obviously, of business, really the most important one is customers. So I'd like to know how you're engaging with them, how you're segmenting your customers, what the growth is like.
Yeah. Right now, we have been having a very nice exponential growth, doubling from January to February to March. So this is really very interesting growth. And right now, we have customers that spend at least 50, 60, 80 minutes on the platform doing different things. And we are segmenting them right now, so to understand exactly which kind of customers we have, what they want, and beginning to see different verticals that maybe need special attention. So I used to say that Bettermaps is a technology company and not a product company, in the way we want to develop a technology that can deliver a different niche in different verticals. And that's what we are doing. We are talking to customers in different segments that very soon probably will be disclosed. And so we are now going not just horizontal but deep. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Are you prepared to tell us how many customers you have?
Yeah, so we have doubled from 250 to 500, and now 1 month ago, and now we are already about 1,000. And we are in the rate of 1,500 or 2,000 this month. So it's actually very good. So
that's the definition of exponential growth. Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it must be really exciting.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So then how do listeners become customers?
Yeah, they just have to go to Bettermaps.ai and they can sign for free. Then there is a subscription mode. And so some of the customers, they have specific demands. They can contact us and we can discuss if we can do something specific for them. So something that we are preparing very soon, we are going to launch next week in the Mobile World Congress, is semantic search. For example, so we understand that this is keyword search is not good enough. For example, when we are looking for terms that maybe are not in the title of a data set. That's why we are using the same natural language model to train. And now we are doing semantic search in the way that if you are looking for information about dogs, then maybe you have a data set about pets. And if in the data set about pets don't find the word dog, you will never find it. But with semantic search, they say, okay, these data sets may interest you. So then it shows you data sets with the proximity. So that's why I think this is another interesting way of using AI and natural language model is semantic search, because it's people not always know exactly which word they have to use. And that's something we are learning. We are trying to understand what the people say and not trying to teach them what word to say. That will be too complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, again, this feels like another way that you can actually increase your reach with customers because it will be more accessible to the layperson or someone who doesn't know exactly what they're doing. Yeah, no, this is great to hear. It's nice. Semantic searches, I remember that from as a concept taught in university when I was doing my master's. So it's nice to finally see it out in the wild, yeah, in the industry. So that's great. Okay, so maybe some listeners are also interested actually in getting involved in your project or in Better Maps itself somehow, not just as customers. So do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, sure. So for sure, we are always looking for talent. So if there is somebody who wants to join the project, we can discuss. So we are looking for people passionate about geospatial and AI. So, or to shape the future of geospatial as we want to see it. And for another side, also we are looking for investment. So we are a company based in Spain, so where our costs are not so high like in other places like London, as you might know. That's why so we are a good investment, I suppose. And yeah, we can discuss ways to move Bettermaps forward in the different constellations, in different could be different opportunities. Yeah.
You mentioned convertible notes before. What are those?
Yeah, so convertible note is just some money that family, friends, and fools, the 3 Fs, lend you, but there is still not a price tag. So they give you the money and they say, okay, when you convert, when you have the next funding round, then they will convert this money that was lent to shares. So that's why they are notes that are to be converted. But in principle, they give you the money. They just don't know exactly what is going to be the price tag. So and that's why it is a very easy way to postpone the discussion of the evaluation to a later point and not necessarily spend a lot of time saying how much is the company value and so on. So you can postpone this discussion for later. Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like the very definition of getting in on the ground floor. Okay, so yeah, that's been a good group of questions, I feel, to understand the product you're developing, the ambitions you have, and yeah, to see what a brave and courageous person in our industry is doing, trying to keep up with the latest what's on the edge. So thanks for that overview. I've got a couple of extra fun questions that I'm going to ask everybody in this podcast. So we'll see what you have to say. Ancient Greeks referred to Anaximander as the first map maker. We have a world map from him made in the first half of the 6th century BC. So that's quite a long time ago. Why would you be proud to show your product to this person from 2,600 years ago as a sign of human progress in mapping?
All the people doing maps, they share the same kind of how do you say, passion to understand the world around them. And you can make a map by drawing with a stick on the sand, or carving on a stone, or doing digitally, or with an AI assistant. But at the end of the day, what you want to do is get a better knowledge of what's around you. So I think map makers, it could be Mercator, it could be Cassini, it could be Blue, it could be whatever. they all will agree that the technology is always the latest that they can use. So I used to say a phrase that I'm very proud of because many people like it, is maps are the artifacts made by humans that are the best combination of art, science, and culture. Each time you see a map, you know the art of the time, the science of the time, and the culture of the time. And I think my maps with AI are product of the time. This is the art of the time and the technology of the time and the culture of the time. That's why, so this is nothing else that drawing made 2,000 years ago or even before carving in rocks. So this is it's a new technology in a new era.
I wonder if there's something we should pay attention to from a philosophical perspective, as well as, saying, wow, I'm getting excited.
I think there is a similarity that now, let's say, the more manual works are not going to be so valuable, but in the 21st century with the AI, creative and philosophical thinking are going to be more valued. And this is something that happens in the Greece of Pericles, that the philosophical and creative arts were the best jobs, and the manual work was not so well. So, and I think we are coming back there. So in some way, we are coming back to where the Greeks were 3,000 years ago. Yeah.
There you go. Wow. This is the whole point of the podcast, actually, to talk about. No. Okay, so continuing these ridiculous timescales in the search of some geospatial philosophy. And the last question. So using this as inspiration, what will maps be like 2,600 years into the future?
I think it's the same. So everybody's going to need maps. So it could be mental maps, it could be maps of Mars or whatever other planets or other universes, but we're going to need maps. So probably the technology is going to change, the art is going to change, the way we interact with the maps are going to change, but we're going to need them. So a map is nothing else than an abstraction of the reality around us. And yeah, maybe we interact with them in a way that we cannot conceive, but maps will always be there. That's why, so I don't think SMAP are going to disappear. They are just going to change support and the technology used to make them.
Yeah, I mean, immediately I'm thinking about the territories and hopefully the planets that we'll be making those maps of. That's what I'm fascinated about. Okay, well, that was a fantastic whirlwind tour of one of the latest, most cutting edge geospatial startups that I'm aware of in the world. It's a privilege to get things started like this with this new podcast. At a basic level, tracking all of the geospatial companies that somehow the public might be able to participate in on a financing level if they wish to. So it's been a privilege to hear from you, Pablo. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.